All right, so welcome to Daily Drip with yours truly, Drip Davinci. This show is basically going to be about me as an artist, creativity, my inspirations, and things that kind of drive me to make music, paintings, art, and other things that I love to share with everybody, in hopes that you might find some type of inspiration or some type of guidance or anything that you might find useful in what I do for your creative processes too. I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York. I grew up in New York and in Miami. Came to Miami early 90s. Spent most of my childhood in both places. My family lives in New York and in Miami. And so all my friends and my cousins and aunts and everybody was in New York. So I grew up learning a little bit about both cultures. Miami was a lot more quieter than New York, especially like in the 90s before it got so busy. So most of my time as like growing up, I spent trying to create things. One of my first influences was my godfather. He was an artist. He made these like amazing sketches, and he would always draw like comic book characters for me. So around the time he was doing like Batman and Robin and Darkwing Duck and those things. And my brother was a huge comic book collector, so that was kind of like my inspiration for art too growing up. He had some type of like sketches like in the house. I don't think he was passionate about it, but there were things that he had that I thought that, oh, my brother could do this, I can do this too because he does it. There was like a disconnect until I started hanging out with my godfather. So with him, he was more of like the inspiration behind it because he was very encouraging. He would give me gifts, and those gifts were like his artwork. He did sweaters for me, he did shirts, he did little sketches, and so that was kind of like the connection we had. He also was like heavy into music. He had like a nice collection, so I got to see like Michael Jackson movies, a lot of his videos. I never saw a music video before until I was hanging out with my godfather, and those were like some of the movies that I saw that were music related too. So it was just like, for me, like in that type of environment was just so like it was just dope. I can't explain it. It was very inspiring. It was something that I connected to at a young age. So I wanted to keep doing that and keep pursuing that, but I didn't have that, especially when I left New York. So in Miami, it was just dry as fuck for me. Like I did not like Miami. I really hated it. And it was nothing to do. There were no friends. I didn't socialize. So the only outlet I had was art. And I at that point, I wasn't as good as I wanted to be when I was doing sketches at a young age. And that frustrated me. So I just wanted to do it even more and more because I couldn't figure it out. Like how can my godfather make these dope sketches, and then I compared them to like what my brother was doing. My brother, he was like a techie, so his sketches were just like I don't know how to describe them, like auto parts or like little like concept cars, basically. So his was it wasn't really abstract, and that's kind of like what I was looking for. I was trying to find a way to connect to an abstract like art form. I couldn't get that from him. And I didn't have, who I wanted to be my mentor around me. So it was just a lot of frustration at a young age. And I got a art drawing book. I got a comic book, learn how to draw type of thing. And it was like the X-Men and stuff like that. So that kind of started making more sense to me. So once I kind of got the hang of like the process, it all became managed. Like, okay, if I keep doing it this way, then I can get better at it. And then from there, like I got really good. I got offered a scholarship when I was in elementary school to go to NYU. I didn't take it because I didn't want to lose my friends, because I had to go to certain schools in order for me to meet the criteria, and I didn't want to do it. But I was happy because she was like, yo, your art is great and we can give you this opportunity, but you have to go here, here, and there, and then you can go to NYU for art. And I was like, you said it was good? She's like, yeah, it's good. I'm like, nah, I'm not doing any of that shit. I just wanted to make sure it was good. I don't like it. Like, I didn't like being instructed, and she was just telling me to draw something every fucking day, things that I didn't like, and I didn't have things to draw that I wanted to draw, so it was very boring for me, and I didn't want to do that. Like I guess that was the first signs of me wanting to be like more of an abstract artist, or in that realm. I wouldn't create like architecture or fine art. Like there's no interest for me in that. So that was like my hobby and things that I would do that I enjoyed. I didn't want to make it like work or anything. As I got older, I gravitated more towards music because my brother was a heavy music collector. So he introduced me to like different groups. He always had music on CDs at the time, we never really had like vinyls at that age. My parents did, but my brother and I didn't. And I just shared everything that he had. So his collection was pretty diverse though. He had Sade, he had Godsmack, he had DMX, Jay-Z, Nas, Bone Thugs and Harmony. There was just so many groups at the time that he had. And then I just remember the one album that we got, the LL Cool J album, and there was a song called 4321, and it was the original one. The original one had everybody on it, and that was the first time that I heard DMX. And when I heard that, because I was a huge Bone Thugs and Harmony fan, I was listening to like more of like dark music. Like DMX was the darkest that I've heard. That to me was just like the craziest shit ever. And like I never forget the line. He was like, "Yo, stay out the dark, because if I catch you when the sun is down." And that shit to me, like I was like, yo, I had that shit on repeat. Like it was just hands down like the dopest thing I ever heard, or the dopest artist I ever heard, because there was nobody like him at the time. And I was listening to, like I said, LL Cool J and Bone Thugs and Harmony. There was a lot of like R&B inspired music around the time. Wu-Tang, everybody was trying to do R&B, and he was nothing like that. So he was the person that actually got me out of my comfort zone to go on stage and to like perform something. So I remember in middle school, there was a talent show and everybody wanted to do like music, and I was like, yo, I could do that. And I picked 4321, and I was just practicing and rehearsing it. And then I got like kind of and everybody flaked out. Nobody wanted to do it. So nobody ended up going on stage, and nobody wanted to do that type of song. So what I did was, instead of doing that song, I did my own song. I came up with my own original song. I never forget that day. So he was a good friend of mine. He was a longtime producer, and we made a few songs together. But at the time, he was like a hip hop head, b-boy style, and like just real underground hip hop. And he knew how to write, and I didn't know how to write. So what he did was he wrote some of the lyrics to the first songs that I ever put together. I don't remember the words, but I just remember he was gonna go on stage with me and perform. And I practiced, and I had like everything kind of like all set. And so my family came to the talent show, and my sister, she was like a little kid at the time. So my friend gets on stage and I get on there. I forget what happens first. I think he goes on before me, and he kind of chokes and he gets nervous. And I don't know if it's me, because I'm a middle child. Like I just love attention, and like I just kind of jumped in and, to kind of like help him catch himself. And I just did my part so we wouldn't, just completely be quiet. And as soon as I went on there and started doing that, my sister's like, "Go Wayne," and everybody's cheering, and like I got super hype off of that. And I finished the verse, and the song kind of like went together, and it wasn't like, we carried each other basically from there. Like once the energy got there, and it was over. Like I was just like, yo, this is dope. Like I want to learn how to like write. Cause what I did was I took what he wrote and I just changed the words so I can kind of like see like, okay, this is how you're supposed to write it, and these are my words. So it's kind of like I just made my own thing out of it basically. Once I understood that, I wanted to do more of it, but I didn't know what to do, and I still don't, honestly. Like I just make music. We just figure it out as we go. So, but that was like the first time I actually got on stage, and I would look for opportunities to get on stage at any chance that I get. So like we had an event where they were asking what you wanted to be when you grew up. Everybody was saying like doctors, lawyers, and all. I went on stage and I just looked at everybody and I was like, I want to work at Winn-Dixie. And everybody started laughing because they knew my sense of humor. Like they knew I wasn't serious. And then everybody looked at me like, yo, did he just say like he wants to bag groceries? Like what the? So like, and then I kind of just smiled, and I was like really proud of it too. I was like, yeah, like, and then I just said goodbye. And then that to me, like, I was just dumb hype off of it. I was like, yo, everybody's like laughing. And so like, I've always been one to kind of be more confident in front of an audience. And it just made sense for me to be some type of, an entertainer, and in ways that I feel like represent me, and I can contribute to other people, and, creatively in any way that I can. So that's kind of like where it all started. But some of my inspirations artistically, I would have to say, would be, I get inspiration from a lot of anime, Marvel comics. I'm a huge superhero nerd. So I know stories. I love backstories. I love like the ideas behind that. And as I got older, it kind of just brought me to more of the philosophical side of art. Like, what's the meaning behind things? So that's kind of like where I'm at in this part of my journey, like meaning, finding meaning and purpose and intention in the art that I make. So when I'm making stuff, I'm not just doing it just to create something that, okay, it sounds good. Yeah, like, I mean, it's easy to make something sound good, but for me, it's like, what's the intention behind it? Like, what type of song is it? And are you executing that in the way that you think is right? Like, you feel good about? Like, does it make you feel good? The song Every Breath That You Take by The Police, right? So when they wrote that song, a lot of people were listening to that song and they were misinterpreting the meaning of the song. So I'll be watching you, right? So you're listening to that song, and every step you take, every breath you take, I'll be watching you. And people were getting obsessive. Like, this thing, I guess he felt some type of way about it, and he wrote the antidote to that song. Every Breath You Take is a song written by Sting, and it was part of their album of Synchronicity. So it's misunderstood as a romantic love song, but Sting has clarified that it's actually about the darker side of love and obsession. And that's what I feel about music. Like, if you're gonna put something out there that has a certain impact on somebody, you gotta put like a solution to it, and at least with how my intentions with music. And honestly, I don't even know if that's like really valid, but that's just how I feel. That's how I feel about art in general. People are influenced by certain things, and it's just a powerful way to connect with people. So, I always put value on that, and I always put like, I handle that with caution. If you're like really dark, and somebody's going through something, you got to offer them some type of light at the end of the tunnel. And that has been done for me many times. And just seeing somebody, who they are as a person, as an artist, and seeing them overcome certain things is one of my favorite forms of inspiration. So just knowing that, oh, this person has went through this person has went through that, and they talk about it in their songs, and you connect with it so much, only to know that they didn't make it, or they didn't believe in themselves, and they didn't set the example that it's possible for you to kind of get past this. And I'm not saying everybody's perfect, but I do think that if you have meaning in what you do, you want to just live it up to the highest potential, or its highest good. Yeah, so those were some of my earliest artistic inspirations, and those influences shaped some of my projects that I've released and my current vision now. So this year, it's about me finding my path into the next chapter of my life, and so this is going to be kind of like an exploration into that area. So I don't even know where I'm going to go musically, but I do know I need to go somewhere else. It's just something that I'm not comfortable with. I'm not happy with about my art, about my work. And so I want to take time to explore that. And I want to kind of use this as kind of like a map. This will be called Unveiling the Vision. All right, so thank you guys for checking in. If you like what you saw today and you're inspired, or you want to continue to follow me along this journey, give me a follow here on YouTube, Instagram, all platforms, and continue watching for some more content. And make sure you like, share, and subscribe. I'll let you koala.